Next, we have creating pixel perfect drawings. So when you're creating content for use on web, mobile apps, on-screen presentation, whatever it might be, it's really important that your images saved from vector artwork look sharp, meaning they need to snap to pixels because they're now going to be displayed as raster images. So to create these pixel accurate designs, we're going to align our artwork to the pixel grid. This is a grid of 72 squares per inch, which is web resolution, 72 ppi, pixels per inch. And vertically and horizontally, we'll be able to snap to that grid. When we export assets, such as GIFs, JPEGs, or PNGs, any of that artwork that was vector becomes rasterized in the PNG, JPEG, or GIF because they're raster files. So turning on Pixel Preview is a great way to see what your artwork is going to look like. So let's open in Chapter 16 the Start To file. And we're going to look at our document color mode first. So under File, Document Color Mode, we see that we're in RGB, which is important because that is the web color mode created with light. So if the person setting up this file knew that they were doing this for web output and chose one of the web presets, it would have been RGB color. If for some reason you get something in CMYK, you're going to want to change it to RGB so that it's truly ready for web. All right, with our selection tool, we're going to click to select the Earth icon in the middle of the page. So this right here, and we're going to zoom in. I'm going to close this links and this color, maybe even this. We don't need any of these. So here is the vector artwork. We're in Illustrator. So if I looked at the outlines, I can see all of my vector points. This looks like it was live traced. Really don't need that many. And it's going to be resolution independent. We can enlarge it or shrink it as we wish. Let's look at our pixel preview. So under View, choose Pixel Preview. This is going to show us a rasterized view of it. So I'm going to zoom in just a little more here. And you can see how our rounded areas don't really align to a pixel. And remember that pixels have to be totally turned on or totally turned off. So where this blue line right here goes up into these pixels, I can't have half of it one color and half another. It has to all be gray. So this part right here is gray as well. So this is not really set up to look great on pixels. However, there are really no straight lines here. For this to really be an issue, we would need to have straight lines either horizontally or vertically to be able to snap to it. These softer lines, there's not much we can do other than turn some pixels different shades of gray to do that anti-aliasing. You can see right here, they did their best to turn on these 3 or 4 pixels as white and these as the dark blue. All right, so with this pixel preview on, we can see the grid. We're going to zoom out a bit now that we've seen this. Quite a bit, I guess. And with our selection tool, we're going to click to select the blue button shape with the text search on it. So we're going to select this. And we're going to zoom in over here, and we need to be up to at least 600%. That's when we start getting our pixel preview. I'm going to go a little bit bigger so it fills my screen and we can really see what's going on here. All right. At this point, we can see that this rectangle that's really all light blue is not perfectly aligned to the pixel grid. Do you guys see right up here at the top? I'll keep zooming in. Do you see how it stops here in our vector drawing, but it should light up this entire pixel. Well, I'm sorry, the line goes way up to here. That's where our vector artwork is, but it can't light up the bottom half light blue and the top not. So it made this whole extra row of anti-aliasing. So it's not pixel perfect. It's not aligned perfectly right here. So with that box selected, we're going to delete it to get rid of it completely. We're going to grab the rectangle tool and we're going to drag out a rectangle roughly the size that we just saw. And don't pay attention to the grid, just draw it however you'd like. And notice that it didn't do any better. There's another setting that we have to do. This is almost worse because I'm seeing anti-aliasing on the right, the bottom, and the left. The only one I got reasonably close was this top line. So we don't want that either. We're going to hit delete one more time. Before we draw it out, we're going to go into view and then snap to pixel needs to be turned on. So down here, snap to the pixel needs to be turned on. Now, any shapes that were drawn, modified, or transformed are going to snap to the pixel grid. So by default, if you create a new document that uses a web setup, so if in that new screen you choose web, it's automatically going to be in RGB mode, and it's automatically going to be in this snap to pixel grid. That's the default, which is good. So with our rectangle, we're now going to click and drag out, and now you don't have to pay much attention because it's automatically going to snap to the grid. You can see it completely fills all of the squares, and we don't have any lighter blue pixels or anti-aliasing showing up at all. So perfect, all we need to do is rearrange it. So click on your arrange button over here, and we're going to send it to the back so that our words come up on top. And then with our selection tool, if we need to, we're going to kind of position it inside the rectangle, how we see in the picture here. So kind of center it a little bit better. All right, we deleted the rectangle and redrew it to see how this worked. But in real life, you're not always going to do that. Sometimes you just want to align the existing artwork and make it line up. You don't want to have to redraw it like we just did. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And there is a blue stroked rectangle around the piece, the search bar that we just did. I'm going to keep zooming out so you can see it's this big piece, this big rectangle right here. All right. We want to align this to the pixel grid. So over in our properties panel, this is one of the quick actions. It's getting very smart and it knows that this is something we might want to do. So we're going to align it to the pixel grid, and just a tiny shift happened. I'm going to undo that and zoom in just to show you what happened there. So here it is. You can see that up here, it looks like it's covering 2 pixels down here, but not at the top. So if we tell it to align to the pixel grid, it shifted, and now it's perfectly lighting up just 1 pixel all the way around. So that's what we did. Zoom back out. All right, now we need to find the letter V, and it's over here by the search bar. So we're going to zoom in again. Right to the left of this search, we have this down arrow in the August 12th area. We're going to click to select that letter V, and then I'm going to zoom in. And you can see that it's not pixel perfect, but guess what? There is nothing horizontal or vertical in this whole thing, so it's not going to work no matter what. So if we choose Object, Make Pixel Perfect, where are you? Make Pixel Perfect. Is it not even an option? Well, if we could have found it, it would have said, no, can't do it. I don't know if I'm just missing it. Huh. Well, it's not over here in our quick actions like we saw it before, and we can't find it where the book thinks it should be. But the bottom line is we would have got an error message anyway because there are no horizontal or vertical lines to snap to it. So let's click on this square that's around it instead, and we can see that this is not pixel perfect, so they've had to light up a couple of pixels. We want to drag the top bounding point up to make the square a little bit larger, so we'll do that first. And you can see it's popping into what looks like, I'm going to click away to deselect this. It's lit up the whole pixel. The vector line is right in the center, but it lit up the whole pixel. All right, after dragging, you can see that that only fixed this one side. I would have to drag this one and this one and this one to get them all to be pixel perfect and light up that one pixel all the way around. So instead of doing that, we're just going to undo, 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 get back to our original not aligned graphic. And we're going to come over to our properties panel and we're going to tell it in one click to align to the pixel grid. Boom, it did it. It shifted over and down a little bit. So things look good, but now the letter V inside is not centered anymore. So we're going to hold down Shift and select the path for the letter V. Come on, select you. There we go. And then we're going to let go of the shift and we're going to click it again and we're going to make that the key object. So if you guys, oh, we want the square to be the key object, my bad. Click this, now click the square to make that the key object. Okay, see how we have the dark? This goes back to like chapter 2. And now we're going to be able to use our alignments and we're going to say horizontally aligned center and vertically aligned center. And that's going to perfectly center that within our box. We don't need to go counting squares or anything else. So we just used the key object and we aligned based on that. So that's all we need. We're going to zoom all the way out, click away to deselect, and we're going to do a file save as. And we can call this one, gosh, we never gave it a name. Let's just call this one Pixels and then 444. That's through page 444, and we're going to save an Illustrator file again. All right, that's making things pixel perfect.